Hey folks, it's Jang here with a train MOC. This is a small diesel switcher. In the US they're called switchers. In the UK they're called shunters. Depends upon where you are. There's a good deal of backstory behind this, so I'm going to try to talk through it pretty quickly. Basically, I just wanted to have one of these small types of locomotives on my layout. A switcher or a shunter is something that is used for very, very, very extremely short distance movement generally. They usually work in train yards where you have a whole lot of cars together, and they will move them back and forth between different lines, basically reorganizing cars to create different trains and have different things moved out on different lines. And I just really wanted to have one of these because I am going to have a yard on my train layout eventually. I wanted to build one of these using the modern parts. As much as possible, I like to use new stuff when I can, rather than digging back in the old parts bins and getting really expensive stuff on Bricklink and such. But I knew it would be a crazy challenge because of the size of the power functions parts, especially the battery box. So my idea originally was to try to get around that by cheating a little bit. Hey, had to do it. This is the power functions, the current power functions base, the train base with the motor inside. That's the powered one. That's a full assembly right there, and obviously the power wire. And what I was going to do is try to make one a locomotive, a standard locomotive, something kind of like this, that housed within it only the power functions receiver, which is this piece right here. So it's easy to build around that. Then I was going to have a secondary unit back here to hold the battery box, and just the battery box, basically a cabless locomotive, something like this but without the cab. So just the big rectangular area, which would end up, basically cover this up and add details to it. It would be something like that. And there are actual configurations like this. They're called cow-calf configurations. There are also A unit or main unit, B unit configurations. I was going to go the cow-calf version, where it basically you would have the full engine here, and then back here you would just have the additional electric motors. Anyway, I thought about doing it this way, but then I realized after just mocking this up, mock M-O-C-K, not MOC, that just doing this right here with a short little bits, no overhang or anything, that setup right there is already longer than the shorter standard Lego train base. So that's kind of defeating the purpose. At this point, I might as well just have created an entire large heavy-duty switcher, or even just a regular diesel electric locomotive. So I threw all that idea out the window for the time being and decided to just start building on a old 9-volt train base. I kind of had to fall back to that, which is this, which has the motor built into it, and you can see it has the metal wheels, and it'll actually pick up electricity from electrified tracks. Only problem with that is that most of my layout is probably not going to be electrified, or not even electrifiable, because I'm going to be using some track pieces that were only ever made in plastic. So I can't get electricity around the thing. But as soon as I started building this, within practically seconds, I think it was, when I started building, putting the base together, flattening out the top of it, I realized that, hey, this is a switcher. It only needs to get used in a train yard. And my train yard is going to use conventional style pieces that can all be metal. As a matter of fact, I want it to all be metal. I want to use as much metal track as possible just for the look. And therefore, I can just electrify the yard, leave the entire rest of the layout blank and not having any power to it at all, electrify the yard, and voila, I have the ability to run a 9-volt train base around, or train locomotive around in my yard. And here it is. This is inspired by the very popular classic Plymouth series of Plymouth locomotive switchers. They made many different models over the course of many years. Unfortunately, that company is not around anymore, but they're still pretty well known. However, I do want to stress very strongly that I was not trying to make a replica of anything. This is my own design. I did not reference any photos in building this. I wasn't trying to create anything. It is just from my head. I didn't even look at any photos recently. I had a small HO scale one as a kid of one particular Plymouth switcher, but that's long gone. I haven't seen it in probably a couple decades. I've little recollection of it. The only thing that I referenced in building this was after I had already built the whole thing. I did go back and look at some pictures just to see how large the main window is on the side of various small switchers, just because this looked a little bit odd to me. But I ended up just sticking with what I had because it fits. The cab is large enough for a minifigure, and you can see I went with a 4-wide engine compartment here, and then a 5-stud wide cab, just to get a little bit of extra width along the side there. And it's using a modified color scheme of my train company. I should probably come up with a name for it, but like I did with my first passenger train, which was orange on the bottom, white on the top. This, I figured, being more of a utility style vehicle, I would not go with the white. I think I'll keep the white part for probably just for passenger trains only, and then use gray as the accent or the base color for cargo stuff and just utility stuff like this. So that's it. What you see is what you get. This is kind of built in. Oops. Normally that whole thing comes off as one piece. It's kind of built in two pieces. The five wide section kind of comes off, and you can see there's a little bit of detail inside of the cabin. Got a couple horns on the top. I do have the lights in the front and the back, since these things do work both ways. The front piece, I don't think I've taken the front piece off in a while. Oh yeah, it does still come off. There you go. Practically is one thing. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and just came out kind of how I wanted it to. I wasn't sure of exactly what it would look like. I wasn't sure if I would be able to pull off the cab in a 5-stud wide configuration, but it works out. I got fairly low decks in the front and the rear. I got the ladder stairs on the sides, pretty much how I want them, really nice and low, pretty level, and consistent color scheme straight through. And I'm really happy with this thing. So I haven't come up with a name for this locomotive yet, like a model number or anything like that, but I eventually will. But for now, that's it. That's it for this video. Mostly backstory on that one, and what you see is what you get. I did test run this. I don't even have a full loop worth of track to run around yet of metal track, but I did test it on what metal track that I do have. The motor is running great. This thing does have plenty of power to pull things around. I mean, it's a full train motor that is usually used for full trains. Just one last thing to give you a perspective of size on this guy. What I'm actually going to do is just set something up a little bit off camera here, roll this off to the side over here, do a little coupling, and oops, hey, well, it's not rolling quite so nicely on this surface here, but what I wanted to do was just roll the Maersk engine into frame, just so you can see how small this thing is. Most switchers that I see that have been made in the Lego space seem to be dramatically larger than this. I kept this one as small as I reasonably could. Could have made it smaller, but this is about what I wanted, with still enough room to put the minifigure inside of the cab. Tiny little thing, very minimal, just using one single small power base. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. This was a fun project. Took me quite a number of hours of continuous work. Took it all the way apart, almost down to just a flat bass twice, I think, during the process. Many different iterations and tries and failures along the way. Finally got it looking pretty good. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.